What's going on, everybody? Landon here with Home Service Business Coach. Dave,
What's up, brother?
always good to see you, buddy. Man, I have been, this podcast video, wherever you're watching or listening, this is about the big news.
Yeah.
This has been in the works. I remember a conversation, man, at Cactus Club, a local restaurant here, 2 years ago? We're like, hey, man, maybe we should message the CEO of Jobber on LinkedIn and see what happens.
Yeah.
And funny enough, here we are later. And he actually replied to that too. So shout out, Sam.
You got to be bold. Yeah, no, that was a couple of years ago now, man. So it's cool to see things come round circle and to hang out for a little bit and share a little bit more of like the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you that are wondering, HSBC has officially partnered with Jobber. Okay, they're the biggest in the software industry, helping home service business owners like you really organize, being able to send invoices, quotes. We'll leave a link down below if you want to check them out. If you haven't heard of them, if you haven't heard of them,
I
it's a
think
question.
people have.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But Dave, let's backtrack a bit. Let's go back a bit.
Sure.
Tell us, I guess, your first interaction with Jobber, and I think that was 20.
We started with them in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been as long as I've had my company now, 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And why'd you stay with them, man?
I mean, we found it was just like the most simple one to use, honestly. We tried out another few as actually the fourth CRM that I tried.
Interesting.
And so I was looking for the most like simple solution that we could actually get plugged in and say, hey, we can run a viable business here. And, my team members don't need to get their PhD in running tech, from their phone. So that's why we did it. And it's been, over 5,000 jobs now. Wow. A whole bunch of revenue and employees later, and here we are still using the platform.
So question on that then, and I don't want to dive too much into the Jobber rabbit hole. Is Revive where it's at? Is HSBC even viable without Jobber?
No, probably not. Like I would say it's the whole brain of our business, honestly. Like I tell people, you got to look why you started your business. For me, it's for time, freedom, and for income. Mm-hmm. And so if you like both those things, then you should plug on with a system. And I also love simplicity. So it's just, it's kind of an offer you feel dumb saying no to. So,
yes, sir.
Plugged in with them and haven't looked back since.
Yeah, man. Well, I guess like that time freedom, that income freedom, I guess that kind of pairs nicely with HSBC, right? Could you're getting the messages and stuff like that. In 2020, the world goes to crap. We've heard the stories before, but like, tell us again, kind of sum up the last 4 years of HSBC, because like you said, Jobber's been like a catalyst that like, look, it's not the end all be all, but it's the brain. You still need the arms, the body, so per se, but Jobber's kind of helped allow Revive to kind of systematize itself, obviously with the proper people, having the lead flow, and obviously the back end business structure. But man, sum up for the people last 4 years of HSBC.
Yeah, sum it up.
I know it's
90 seconds.
You only have 4 hours, okay?
Right? Yeah. It started very organically. It started with direct messages coming in through Instagram and Facebook. I think I started being a little more public what I was doing with Revive. I had spent the last, 3 years pretty like much every day, less Sundays, like building SOPs, building out a Google Drive, building a brand, building up an Instagram page, like all these things that usually don't come natural to contractors. And so I just started sharing some of those resources and people started coming in. And I still remember, man, my first paid gig as a coach, I charged this guy $200. I remember he DM'd me, "This is so good, Dave. Like, could we get on a call?" And I'm like, "Sure. And what do you charge?" And so I run to the kitchen, chat to my wife. Okay, $200. I think if we can make $200 an hour, that's good. So I'm like, $200. He's like, "Send me the link." I'm like, I don't have a payment link. So it's like, you're totally making this up as you go. But that's where it all started. I was a painting contractor out of Florida that I helped grow his business. So then it had a few more people reach out.
Yeah.
So much so that my Fridays, man, turned into just a 9 a.m., a 10 a.m., 11, $200 every time. So that was like, this is a cool business. And then you know, you can't help your business brain. So I'm like, let's now make small groups. So I started making these 4-person groups that would meet with me. And then it turned into Tuesday, Thursdays. And then I had over 40 clients myself trying to run 2 businesses. It was just too much. So then I started hiring. This is my favorite part of the story. Started hiring some of our best clients that scaled their business. I then had a meeting with them to say, I would love to get your help to be a coach in our program.
Love it.
And then we add on a bit of marketing. We hire a great sales growth advisor right here, Lannon. And you know, here we are 4 years later, plugging in with the biggest CRM in the home service space. And we'll get more into how that happened. But I think it's just a story of taking bold action. And goodness me, with the internet, everyone looks like a guru. And you shouldn't have to tell people you're a guru. You should just be your most genuine, authentic self. And I think you will start to pull people into your boat that are attracted to you. And I know you hear that all the time because you guys just aren't selling snake oil. Like, this is real and authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very funny how it's almost probably very similar to like your guys' business, right? Like, fell into coaching. How many of you fell into your business? You started doing it on the side. Somebody asks you, like, I can do it. Then, you know, you do one Saturday. Next thing you know, a neighbor walks up to you. It's like, how many of your businesses started organically? And then you look back 4 years later, you're like, oh my gosh, look at where I've done. I've left my full-time job and all that stuff. And then there's many of you, which is why HSBC exists, I kind of stumbled into this, but I haven't been able to find the great people, you know, like I don't have the experience like others do to put the SOPs in, to put all that stuff. And again, that's why HSBC is here. And that's why we wanted to talk about our partnership with Jobber, because like I mentioned 2 years ago, we'll give people that. So we got 2017 Jobber. Okay. That's when you first started using them. I used them in 2019, obviously selling for Revive. I loved it. Super, super simple to use. But then we get to 2022. We're sitting in Cactus. We message Sam. He actually gets back to us. He absolutely rejects us. We didn't let that stop us. So now fast forward, we're at the huge last year in 2023.
Yeah.
You want to take it away?
Yeah, this is good context. 2023, Jobber got me to basically speak in their booth. And teach a kind of a Q&A session on the software. And I did my piece and I was walking away, and one of the top salespeople was there and said, hey, that was really good. He's like, you know what? We have actually a sales event coming up later that year with like 60 of our top salespeople. You should totally like put in a bid to come and do that. I said, yeah, it sounds cool. And he's like, what would you charge? I said, I'll let you know. But I said, I'd be more interested actually in getting like lunch with Sam. And he's like, oh, we could probably make that happen. And I was a little bit like, believe it when I see it. And so, you know, there was that conversation, which helped kind of plant the seed. And then in the November, the event came around. And ended up teaching that session. There was a lot more than 60 people in that room because the team at Jobber had grown. There's probably over 100 people in that room.
And just to touch on that, to cut you off, I heard from people on the Jobber team that it was the best talk they've ever been to, period. Not even just in the company, but ever. So you crushed it. Well done.
I won't leave you hanging. No, it went really good. And, you know, I basically, for those that don't know, I taught for almost 4 hours, like straight. We took a couple breaks, but I just tried to take 15 years of doing this and collapse it in. And the coolest thing, man, from that event is hearing the stories from the top people at Jobber saying people are coming up to them in the hallway saying, I took this strategy from Dave's talk and it helped me in this conversation, or helped. And it's just like, that's super, super cool. So that was in November. I ended up teaching that actually like a bit sick, to be honest.
I remember.
And I was like, you know what, take whatever. I took some fisherman friends and just got on with it. Once that talk is done, I'm running out to catch my Uber and I get this hand on my back like, hey Dave, one sec. it ends up being the chief revenue officer at Jobber. And he says, I need to get your number because we need to have a conversation kind of about some of the stuff. He's like, that was a phenomenal talk, et cetera, et cetera.
What's going on in your mind? Any light bulbs? Any?
Not really. I was just on adrenaline. I mean, we just had a newborn son. You're already not sleeping much.
Yeah.
I fly out. I'm sick. Had lunch with Sam that day, which was awesome. He took me to Jobber HQ, got a tour, and then he's like, yeah, here's the mic. Go. You got 3-4 hours. Let her rip.
Yep.
So the whole day was just like a blur, honestly. But yeah, I think reflecting, taking the Uber to the airport, I'm like, this could be actually something like pretty cool. Because I think you start a business and you don't fully reverse engineer where you're going and all the steps. Of course, you have your dreams to build a business and help these people. But when you look at the entrepreneurs that we can help with our coaching program, there's already so many of them that are using Jobber and love Jobber, but they don't have access to a lot of these business systems that we teach and help with. So I knew in the back of my head it would be a perfect match long term, but we had to make sure that the deal would work for both sides as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I guess, so it kind of sparks in the mind a bit. I remember hearing about it and I was like, man, super interesting. I was kind of envious. I was like, man, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at the lunch there.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for that internal training, Jobber, if you're listening to this. But what was kind of it? Because the conversation for partnerships started to happen in March.
Yep.
Was that correct?
Even earlier, actually, like February range, I started getting on calls with their senior leadership team.
Gotcha.
And turned into more calls, and then some due diligence, and then finally a deal signed in the summertime.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it was probably the biggest deal I've ever had in my career as an entrepreneur, and also one that I'm just very excited about the future. We're so early in our journey together working with Jobber as a partner, but I think it's one that's going to be pretty exciting for the days, months, and years ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And with partnerships, like I'm sure you guys get reached out to, and gals listening, all the time with marketing agencies. Oh, I can help your business. I can do this. I can do that. With us, it's daily, pretty much. With partnerships. Hey, I want to reach out to this, like this, right? And the thing is, we have 2 official partnerships now.
Just two
in
4 years.
To where we're going to bat. You're going on camera.
Yeah.
We would go behind, and we're standing behind it. Those 2 are 180 and Jobber. Okay, 180 sites. And the reason why is because we actually use them. So for us, we're so picky on if we're going to partner with somebody. Why? Because it directly affects you. So on that, Dave, we talk about core values. We talk about vision. Why ultimately did HSBC move forward with Jobber as a partner?
Yeah, I think it comes down to just our ultimate vision. I think it took us a few years, Landon, to figure out this brand is now bigger than just Dave, because it started with, me and a Zoom link. And that's where it all started.
Love it.
But now it's grown where people hear home service business coach and their mind doesn't always go directly to Dave, which is amazing. And the companies I've built, I tend to do a pretty good job at removing myself from being that attractive character, as Russell Brunson calls it, of the company.
Yep.
So I think for me, it just becomes about what the bigger vision is. And, we've helped hundreds and hundreds of contractors through our flagship coaching program. But the vision is to help not hundreds and hundreds, but help thousands and thousands. And so we wanted to look for who actually aligns with our values as a company. Who can we actually get behind and say, this company is legit. We're partnering together to help a bigger vision. So I think it made a lot of sense from both sides. And I think the best deals in business are always ones that the values are the same and the deal is in equilibrium. So one side's not like, oh, we're getting like this great deal. It's like it's super fair on both sides and there's great benefit for both parties. But for me as CEO, it just came down to what is the vision for this thing? And I think it took me months, if not like over a year, man, to figure out like what the vision what is this business actually going to be for the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does help. We're both Canadians too. I mean,
That's great.
Come on.
That's
Edmonton,
great,
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Always good to see some Canadian boys come together. One of the things, and I really want to touch on this, jobbers, I think they were telling us their main objection from you guys using the software is you're not a business owner. You can't tell me what to do. And the question becomes, they have a big business, so they might know something you don't know. But that was also another reason why we wanted to partner with them. It's like, look, you are the brains, we're the body, if you will.
Yeah.
You have put together millions of dollars to develop this software. Awesome. It's not going to be the driver for lead flow. It's not going to make you find and hire great people. It will help with business management. But Dave, there is so many other things that are involved. So if you're listening to this and you're a user or jobber, or you are not a user or jobber, that's why HSB exists, is to help.
Yeah.
Okay. Just as jobber, with this partnership, we're, I guess, I don't know, jobber if HSBC, who was more selective with each other to eventually get to this point, but we're extremely selective with who we work with for that reason, for the core value, for the vision, all these kind of things. So in saying all this, their biggest objection, you don't work. Well, it's like, hey, kind of a match made in heaven, right? We teach the business side. They are the brain of the business, okay? Common question is going to be, do you only work with jobber clients? So what kind of changes can we and you guys expect with this big news coming down the pipe that we're partnered with Jobber now?
Yeah, man, lots. I mean, I think the big thing is Home Service Business Coach is really growing into being its own brand. It's no longer, Dave's personal brand. It's definitely an aspect of me. I'm the founder, I'm the CEO, but I think it's growing into something being bigger than myself, which I think naturally as a business, you want to see it grow and evolve. I think this is going to cause definitely some heavy lifting for us as a team internally. Landon, we've been chatting off camera, just like how many big initiatives we're doing and how things have changed over the last even 12 months.
Yes.
And that was a big part of my decision with this too, was like, hey, this is a big deal that's going to, this isn't just something you consider in a weekend and sign the deal. This is like a big fundamental direction where our company's going. So I really wanted to make sure it's the right one. And I'm not scared of hard work. I just want to make sure that our ladder is, for contractor reference, our ladder is up against the right wall that we're climbing as a full team. So, I think a big change would be the brand growing, yes, but also I think the change is just as something naturally grows, there needs to be structure, and there needs to be proper channels of communication for team members, and there needs to be really world-class onboarding experience. And I think why our coaching business has grown well is because what we put our stamp on, I believe we do a world-class job in front to back of the business.
Yes.
And so that's something that we need to make sure stays protected as that continues to grow as well.
Oh man, 100% agree, right? And that's where, again, if we look at the future of this, of where it's going, right? There's a bunch of changes, and if you want to know what they are, we just recently made a bunch of changes in the program, including pricing. If you want to know, 778-697-8961. Get a hold of me right here. You can fill out the lead intake form on our website. You can join our free community. If you want to find out what we do, it's not that difficult. It's just going to take you 2 minutes of your time, right? And a little bit of reading. That's about it.
Yeah.
I guess, Dave, what has you excited for the future? And before we get into that, has it sunk in yet? I have to tip my hat, man, because a lot of people have these ideas and I listen to them every single day. I have this idea, but I didn't do it. Oh, I wanted to do this, but I didn't yet. Did you think the business is where it is now? Alex, $200?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to send you a link. Could you ever have pictured this?
My honest answer is no. Been reflecting on it a lot, man. I think I'm not surprised that that Home Service Business Coach has grown. I think I'm surprised that the velocity, how quick it has grown in the last few years. It took me a year and a half to kind of figure out what the offering is to our clients and how to go about structuring it and how to build kind of more of a brand name. But I'm not surprised it's grown, but I think just how fast it's continuing to grow is something that, you know, I wake up pretty early in the morning with like a fire to be like, let's just make this thing better.
Yeah,
and
good.
like to just share with everyone, I've changed the program probably 5 or 6 times now over 4 years.
Well, hold on, 5 or 6?
I think, is it more than that?
I think iterations at least.
Yeah.
Maybe not big changes,
Right.
but iterations.
It's pretty constant. Yeah.
It's this Kaizen methodology. It's this quest to never stop improving, never stop getting better, right? And like that's where again, that's why it's been such a joy for me to see this, because I've been here almost from the infancy. I almost see right where we're starting to figure these things out.
Yeah, and I think in this business, I'm a very product-driven founder. Like it's the program that I jump out of bed to like look at, and how can we like make this better?
Yep.
I think there's some founders that are very led from, they take all the sales calls because they can get people, all excited, but then you log in and you're like, this thing's a piece of junk. Where ours is like, it's like a full-on machine. Like it's an immersion. And I'm very proud that that's been built, because it basically took my home service business, Revive, and white labeled it and then made it accessible to hundreds of home service business owners. We learned, we iterated, and now we're plugging in with Jobber to like jump that next tier. So I don't think it's like fully sunk in, to be honest, man, but I think it's like a healthy balance of a little bit of nerves, 20% nerves, and 80% just like full on excitement. Let's go. Because my personality is like, I don't really do anything at 70%. Like if I'm like, I'm there or commit. I'm like horse blinders, let's go. So this is like, for this business, this is like a big thing in the future.
Absolutely. And it's almost like, I'll put it to you this way, it's like our full focus is our full thought. And then again, we're not going to sit here and talk forever, but it's almost like you walk into the Mercedes showroom, right? And you have, the family sedan car, and then you have the sports car. I'm not going to get into the models for people that don't care. I get it. You can test drive the family sedan all day long, but if you want to hop into the expensive sports car, not anybody's just driving that. We're going to do a credit check. We're going to do an application. We're going to sit down with the finance manager, like all these different things. And that's the view we take with HSBC of like, hey, we know what we have, because it's been, 4 years of, and again, we wake up with this. I'm just explaining to you how we're going to bed. How do we make this thing better? Like we frigging care. And I cannot put that across enough. So it's like, here's the machine, the thing. Not everybody can access it though, because it wouldn't be the machine it is if it was an open gate policy. So I guess, Dave, with this, we'll wrap it up here. I mean, we could go on for hours, as we always could. For everybody, where can listeners and viewers learn more about the partnership if they're looking at Jobber? And again, don't feel ashamed to plug this guy back
for sure.
here.
I think we'll link up in the show notes, in the show description, just the landing page that we've built out. We've collaborated with Jobber to build out a pretty awesome landing page, which explains a lot about the partnership and really what the prospect, the viewer, the customer can really get out of it. So we'll link that up here. And then I'd say for those that are wanting to learn more about us, check us out, homeservicebusinesscoach.com. I mean, I think our business is certainly at the point where we're quite exclusive and by design, invite only.
Yes.
And this isn't a coaching offer that just, oh, you got money, come on in. Like this is like, we're keeping a very high bar. So I think we just want to be careful on podcasts, on YouTube, that we say this is not an open door policy. It's really for not even the business owner that's stuck. It's more the business owner that's like, rather than this take 6 or 7 years, I want to do it in like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I value my time more than my money, so I'm willing to buy some of my time back.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, why Jobber was even created in the first place in a dorm room with Sam, right? Is like, how do we help people get a little bit more time back in the contractor space? I mean, that's maybe we'll get Sam on the podcast here and break it down for us more. But anyways, everybody, we'll leave all the links below to the landing page, to Jobber, to obviously HSBC. How do you get in contact with us? We'll leave it all below, whether you're listening or watching on this. Dave, any final thoughts? And I guess maybe I want to ask maybe a weird question, and let me know if it's weird. I'm thinking about it on the fly right now.
Yeah.
You looking back you're 20 years old. You're 15 years ago. Would you imagine you would be at where you're at with everything going on? And I'm not talking just business, personally, married, kids, everything like that. Would you imagine you were here? And then what would you tell that 20-year-old?
It's a good question. Just thought of that now.
Just thought of that now.
Oh, man. It goes deep for me, man, because like I'm a professional business coach, and growing up I had a speech impediment. Like I was in speech therapy. Like it's just like you can never know, I think, where your life goes to. But to my 20-year-old self, I was very not confident, scared to knock on doors, just started my student painting company, didn't know anything. So I think it's that quote that people overestimate what they can do in a year, but they completely underestimate what they can do in 10, or in my case, 15. So I would, to answer the first part, no idea that life would be like this. And it's not to say this is this perfect life. Like you got,
of course,
staff, 2 companies running. There's always something to, there's always a problem, right? But we don't run from problems. Like I think they actually make us like better people. But what I'd tell my 20-year-old self in the context of business is really a team sport. And I think my 2 most recent companies I've built and are building, it all comes down to just the quality of people on the team. And I firmly believe that you only attract quality people if you transition into being like a competent quality person yourself. And I put in hundreds of thousands of dollars into my own personal development to grow to where I am. And we're looking at, 200 books in front of us behind the camera here. Like, it's just, that's all part of my story. So I think I would have told myself, get serious about personal growth and growing yourself. And secondly, start to look for some awesome people, because, you can build something good by yourself. I think you can build something extraordinary with a team.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far.
That's it.
Go together. Landon with HSBC. Dave, as always, pleasure. Guys, all the links are below. You guys have a great rest of your day. And gals, we'll talk with you soon.